Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL. Today is Saturday, the 23rd of April 2022. It's 2:16 a.m. in the morning and it's time for me to do my weekend Forex forecast for this upcoming week. So for this upcoming week, we're going to be taking a look at DXY, the 8 majors, and also 5 cross pairs. Okay, all right, so without any further delays, guys, as usual, let's take a look at the economical calendar at Forex Factory to see what we have from a high impact news that is already scheduled on the calendar. So as we can see here, and on Sunday, April 24th, we actually have the French presidential elections. All right, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Okay, most likely will be having a significant impact on the euro. All right, and also on Sunday we have bank holidays on from New Zealand, okay, and Australia. And on Monday we also have a bank holiday in Italy. Okay, so all of these are kind of quite significant, something to keep an eye on as we go into next week. And then on Monday as well, we also have the Governor of Bank of Canada speaking. And then on Tuesday, we have the CPI data coming from the Australian axis, okay, later in the evening on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we have a tentative item, the Bank of Japan outlook reports, okay, obviously coming from Japan. And then on Thursday we do have the GDP data, okay, coming from the US axis. And then on Friday, core PC price index. So quite a light week, to be honest. All right. So a few bank holidays in there. Obviously, we have the presidential election, coming from France, and then we do have the GDP data and the CPI data coming from the Australian axis. All right. So these are kind of the high impact news that we already have scheduled on the calendar as we go into next week. All right. So with that out of the way now, let's take a look and see what we have on our charts. As usual, I'm going to be kicking things off with DXY. Now, for DXY, what do we have here? For this particular week, again, third bullish week in a row. All right, you can see here we've been printing bullish candles. However, price is now slowly but surely approaching a quite a significant level of previous resistance, or actually previous supply. We are still bullish. There's no need trying to go against the trend at the moment. However, it's something for you to keep in mind that maybe we might be running out of steam and we might be seeing sharp reactions to the downside in the DXY as we go into the next week, or maybe even the upcoming week. All right, definitely something to keep an eye on. But at this particular moment, the market is scoring higher highs and higher lows. Just follow the trend. All right, so now let's take a look and see what we have on the daily time frame. Now from the daily time frame, obviously price is still clearly moving in an uptrend. As you can see here, we had this little range, and then from here the markets give us a nice push to the upside, and then a little hesitation, push to the upside, little hesitation, push to the upside. The week closed a very nice and bullish candle. All right, now we are trading obviously above that 10100 level. All right, so in my own opinion, well, it's still looking bullish. All right, so right now we're just going to be waiting for price to pull back into demand zones for us to start searching for long-end opportunities, at least from what we can see on the daily time frame. Now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, this is where things look a little ugly, though generally bullish, but it looks ugly. Okay, as you can see here, well, price gives us a very deep pullback, and then from here again we make a new high. So well, we do have a very nice demand zone area in here, quite large, to be completely honest with you, and that's why I kind of narrowed it down to this particular base right around 100 institutional level. All right, so what I would love to see next week, well, maybe when the market opens, maybe it's very possible that the market can continue to the upside from here. Who knows? All right. But maybe sometime later in the week, I would love to see this market begin to give me a dip into maybe 150 levels. Okay, from where maybe I would like to see the bulls, coming to these markets to start pushing the markets to the upside. Or if that doesn't happen, then maybe a dip into, let's say, 100 institutional price level, deeper into this demand zone, from where any reversals from here, in my opinion, chances are these markets might give us another push to the upside. But like I said earlier, in the weekly time frame, you can see that we are now trading at significant levels of previous resistance. So don't be surprised in an event that, let's say, the market gives you a push to the downside, maybe to clear liquidity below these levels right around let's say 99.50, from where maybe the bulls might come back heavily into this market again to try to give us another push to the upside. All right, so these are all possibilities in my opinion, so be careful as you go into these markets next week. 150 is not this most significant level in my own opinion. Trying to long from right around 100 is okay, but in the event that the market breaks this level, clears liquidity below this pretty much equal lows that we have here, and then from there, if we get any reactions from right around 99.50 levels, in my opinion, that's going to be a high quality level for one to start searching for long opportunities for another nice push to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much what I can see right now on DXY. Now the next currency pair is going to be US dollar Swiss francs. Now finally, if we go into the weekly time frame, you'll notice that we have now broken the top of this flat top triangle. All right, and in the process, we have also created a weekly demand zone in this area. I did not show it, and the reason why I didn't show it is because I have a daily demand zone in here. I didn't want to clutter my charts, so I decided to just omit it. And right now we have a very nice momentum break above the high of this flat top triangle that we can see here in the weekly time frame. So in my own opinion, well, the bulls are making a statement in these markets. Make no mistakes. However, if I go into the monthly time frame as well, you will notice that this is an area of a monthly supply. Okay, you notice, look at these two pin bars that we have here from where the bears came into these markets and started pushing the markets to the downside, breaking key levels of previous level of support on our charts, creating this supply zone on the monthly time frame. Right around there now, you can see that price is now testing or kind of tested the low of that particular supply zone. So well, the question is, what is going to happen here? Will we maybe get, let's say, pullback from here, maybe for a deeper retest of the supply zone that we have on the monthly, from where maybe the bears might come into these markets to start now pushing things to the downside again? Or will the bulls come into these markets and just continue pushing these markets to the upside? From, let's say, we might get a push to the downside to retest the high of this flat top triangle that was just broken, and then maybe from there we might muscle again to the upside. Who knows? Only time is going to tell, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys what I can see on my charts at the moment. All right, at this particular point, again, there is no need trying to catch or go against the trend. Just focus on buying at the moment. That's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. Waiting for pullbacks and then bounces off of demand zones for long opportunities. All right, so that's it for the weekly time frame. Now if we go into the daily time frame, well, again, you can see the market just continues to push higher and higher. Well, I've identified this demand zone on the daily that led to the break of this level of structure right here. So well, in the event that, let's say, we get a push to the downside, all right, into this particular demand zone, maybe right around 0.9350 institutional price levels, anywhere from right around here, any bounces we get, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much it from the daily time frame. Now, from the 4 hours time frame, we also have a level that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. All right, now in the event that price gives us a push into this particular 4 hours demand zone, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. All right, so obviously you can see this demand zone was formed as a result of the break of this level of structure right here. So let's see how it goes. 9500 being the key level for the 4 hours time frame. All right, if we do get a pullback towards 9500 and we get a bounce from that level, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing high area. Okay, all right, now in the event that that level does not hold, if we get, let's say, the markets to do something of this nature, failing to make a new high, well, in that event, if we get a rotation to the downside towards that daily demand zone, then anywhere from right around there, if we get a bounce, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's the pretty much the scenarios that I can see right now for US dollar Swiss francs. Now next up is going to be Euro US dollar. Now for Euro US dollar, what do we have here? Well, this pair, again, kind of the opposite of DXY. All right, if we take a look at the weekly time frame, we notice that when the week opened, we kind of started off bullish. Price gave us a retest of the high of the previous week, as you can see here, and then from there the bears came into these markets and started to push these markets to the downside. But one thing is key here. You notice that well, for this particular week, we did not take off the low of last week. Price came very close, okay, a few pips to the low of last week, but you can see that that level is still holding as I speak. Okay, so well, this confirms that well, maybe we might be getting maybe another push to the downside to kind of grab liquidity below these lows. All right, and then from there a decision will be made in these markets whether to continue to the downside or whether the bulls are going to come into these markets to start pushing these markets to the upside. All right. That's pretty much it from the weekly time frame. Again, the bears are still looking as if they're in this market. As you can see here, the bulls came in, flexed their muscles, and the bears are now taking over slowly but surely. All right. Now, if we take a look at the daily time frame, what do we have here? Not as pretty as Dixie. Okay, you can notice that in the case of Dixie, we got a very clear bullish move, but in the case of euro dollar, you notice that we are in some form of consolidation in this particular currency pair at the moment. All right. Well, we did get a nice push to the upside to retest this previous level of resistance that we have on our charts from the pin bar yesterday, and you can see the bearish candle that we followed with today. Okay. Well, what do we have possibilities now? Well, what I would like to see is for the bears to come into this market and maybe give us another rotation to the downside to retest the return line of this triangle that I have just drawn here, and then maybe from there we might get some kind of bullish reaction towards the high of this particular this resistance area, or maybe a possible liquidity grab above that area before we get another swing to the downside. All right, that's pretty much what I would love to see right now in euro US dollar from the daily time frame. Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, things become a little clearer. You can see that I have this line here. This is kind of like the return line that euro dollar has been respecting for a while now. So that's why I kind of put that there as a guide for my profit taking, okay, for the opportunities, for my short opportunities. All right. So you can see clearly now we have that pretty much equal highs. Okay. Liquidity is building obviously in this area, and you can see that well, the markets keep an eye on this particular type of levels. What would I like to see in this particular currency pair at the moment? Well, right now the market is clearly moving to the downside. However, be careful because we are slowly but surely tapping into some significant levels, okay, in the longer time frame. If I'm to push this thing out, you notice that let me go to the daily time frame. If I go to the daily, you notice that we are now slowly but surely tapping into these origins that we have in this area. So be quite careful in my own opinion. All right. Now, if we go back to the 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? Now, in the 4 hours time frame, the market is still respecting supply zones. You notice how price gave us a very nice push to the upside to retest this resistance area that we have on the 4 hours time frame. From there, the bears came into this market in momentum, push to the downside, breaking this level of structure, and you can see we got a pullback on Friday, and into this particular supply zone, and you can see how the bears came into this market and continue to push these markets to the downside, creating even further supply zones in the process. All right. So well, what do we have now, or what are the possible scenarios? Well, maybe a possible push into this particular supply zone that we have here in the hourly time frame, from where maybe we might get another bearish rotation to the downside. Okay, that's the possibility that I can see right now for early next week. But then at any point that this market retests the return line of this particular triangle that we have here, let me show you what I mean. Oops, I'm trying to zoom out 1 second. All right, so at any point that, let's say, we get that push to the upside, and then at the markets, let's say, retest the return line of this triangle anywhere from right around here, I would say be careful, because we might get a very significant push to the upside for a possible liquidity grab above this particular equal highs that we have in this area, from where I would expect the bears again to give us a very significant move to the downside. Okay, so all in all, what I'm seeing is a situation whereby we have we are trading at very significant bullish levels, but the bears are still in control at the moment. So there will be some power tussle between the bulls and the bears for a while before the bulls finally take over. That's kind of what I am seeing in this particular currency pair as we move. Okay, so this is some form of will I say consolidation that we now have right now on the euro dollar. So ultimately, whenever this whole correction is complete, it might take a while. Okay, because these are we are testing, let's say, weekly levels. Okay, so expect this correction to take a while, and whenever we come out of this correction, then either to the upside or to the downside, we are going to see opportunities to take clear moves. All right, so let's see how that goes. That's pretty much what I have right now for euro dollar. Now, if I take a look at the hourly time frame, kind of moving now, forming lower highs and lower lows in the process. So well, again, like I said earlier, maybe a possible push into this particular supply zone, and then from here we might get another push to the downside. Okay, in the event that price begins to break above this supply zone significantly, then well, that might be an indication that you might want to wait for another push to the downside to retest this particular previous supply zone area, from where maybe we might get another push to the upside towards this level of resistance that we have mapped out on the 4 hours time frame. All right, so that's pretty much it for euro US dollar. Now next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Okay, now for Australian dollar US dollar, I am still bullish in this particular currency pair. All right, in my own opinion, we had a very nice push to the downside for a few weeks, all right, and then finally from right around that 0.70 area, okay, let's say maybe 0.6969 area, which is the previous swing low that we have on this particular currency pair, right around here. From here, the bulls came into this market, breaking this particular retracement trend line to the upside, all right, and right now we're getting pretty much a pullback towards that particular trend line. In my own opinion, even though it's looking as if the bears are in this market, okay, you can see we've now had 3 selling weeks, okay, 3 red candles. Even though it might look as if the bears are in this candle, I would be very, very careful going shorts around these particular areas, okay. In my own opinion, the bears are going to be in these markets, in control of these markets whenever we take off these lows around let's say 0.6967 area, okay, these lows that we have right here. Okay, for now, as far as this particular currency pair is concerned, I am looking at it as more bullish than bearish. Okay, maybe a possible push to the upside, or let's say a possible push to the downside towards this retracement trend line area, maybe 7170, from where I believe maybe the bulls might now start coming into this market, for a very significant push to the upside, maybe towards let's say 7800 and resistance levels that we have in this area. Okay, this is kind of the move that I would love to see in this particular currency pair in the longer time. Okay, in the longer time frame. So like I said, I'm only going to be bearish in this particular currency pair at any point, let's say price begins to make a new low below 0.6969 area. Okay, but for now, in my own opinion, this is an area where I will expect the bulls to start coming back into this market if we are going to be continuing to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much it for the weekly time frame. Now taking a look at the daily time frame, what do we have here? One second, let me clean up my charts. So from the daily time frame, you notice that I've mapped out this particular demand zone that we have in this area, all right, because this is pretty much where the bulls came into this market. Okay, you can notice that right around this particular area, we had, let's say an area of resistance, okay, right around this area right here. This was an area of resistance for a while, and then from here the bulls came into this market and pushed this market to the upside and breaking this particular area in momentum, okay, to the upside. All right, so in my opinion, that is an indication that that's a demand zone area, and even to confirm it further, when we had this push to the downside deep into this demand zone area, we had another nice bullish move to the upside that actually took off previous key levels of structure on our charts. Okay, so in my own opinion, this is a very key demand zone area from where I will expect the bulls to come back into this particular currency pair and start pushing things to the upside. Obviously, this is the daily time frame, so this might take me maybe a few days, but then finally I will expect the bulls to come into this market and start pushing things to the upside. So that being said, I am clearly bullish in Australian dollar US dollar. Current market trend is to the downside, so be very careful. I'm not just going to try to catch a falling knife, but at the earliest reversal that we start getting in this currency pair, okay, I will be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much it for Australian dollar US dollar. Next up, New Zealand dollar US dollar. Okay, now for New Zealand dollar US dollar, I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm keeping an eye on this buying origin. Okay, so price is pretty close to that particular level right now. The bears are obviously in this market. You notice that for the past 2 days we do have significant selling. If you take a look at the weekly time frame, you notice that for the past 4 weeks, okay, we've had significant bearish momentum in this particular currency pair. However, you notice that this move to the upside, took off this previous level of structure to the upside, creating this demand zone area and this buying origin that I have now kind of refined on the daily time frame. So in my opinion, again, the bears are only going to be in these markets, in control of these markets when we take off this previous swing low right around 0.6530 level. Okay, but as long as price remains above that area, in my opinion, these are very good levels for one to start searching for long opportunities at the earliest signs of reversal for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's why I've mapped out this particular bullish origin on the daily, and maybe another push to the downside, maybe deep into this area, or maybe towards 6600 level, and then from here anywhere right around here, if we get that early reversal, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long in this particular currency pair for a very significant push to the upside. All right, that's kind of my plan in New Zealand dollar, US dollar as we go into next week. All right, now British pounds and US dollar, what do we have here? Now this one is looking very clear to the downside. Okay, now let's take a look and see what we have on the weekly. Again, for the weekly time frame, you can see that the past 2 weeks have been weeks of consolidation. Price had to make a decision right around that 1.30 institutional price level. Okay, right around these previous lows, we had 2 weeks of indecision and then very significant push to the downside. You can notice how this week closed a very full body bearish candle. All right, so a decision has now been made to push these markets to the downside. The bears have won the battle, at least at this particular moment, and in the process, if we now go into the daily time frame, you notice that a new daily supply zone has now been formed in the process. Well, what I would like to see right now is for this pair to give me a push to the upside. Okay, if we do get any push right around that, let's say 1.30 or even 1.3050 level into this supply zone, anywhere from right around here, any bounces to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside. All right, that's pretty much what I can see right now from the daily time frame. Now from the 4 hours time frame, not much can be said right now. You notice that price kind of fell off very significantly. Okay, so we'll need some price action to form for us to kind of start, making any analysis from the 4 hours time frame. All right, but in my own opinion, again, any dips to the upside towards this supply zone area and rebounces to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short again for further continuations to the downside. All right, so that's pretty much it for British pounds and US dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar Canadian dollar. Now for US dollar Canadian dollar, if you guys remember, for a while now I have been quite bearish in this particular currency pair, but right now I'm actually switching slowly but surely into a bullish bias. Okay, the reason for that is because you notice that we did get a few weeks ago, we got a break of this particular trend line in momentum. Okay, we're keeping an eye on this particular flat top triangle, and finally we got a break to the downside, breaking this trend line of this triangle. But as I always tell you guys, one thing about trend line is price can easily break it and break back in the other direction, and all you need to do is just to adjust your trend line accordingly. Okay, so as you can see, this is pretty much what it looks like right now. All right, so in my opinion, well, let me put it back and show you guys what I wanted to show you now. From what I can see here, the expectation for the past 3 weeks as well, you notice that price has been closing below that trend line. Earlier this week, the bears tried to push these markets to the downside, but we did not succeed in making a new low. And from here, you can see that the bulls came into these markets and in very heavy momentum. Not only did the bulls come into these markets, now we have succeeded in closing this week's candle above this trend line again. So in my own opinion, that is a very significant and bullish move, and I'm now switching my bias to bullish. At least I believe that price is now going to give us at least another retest of these highs that we have in this area right around, let's say that 129.50 level. Okay, and even possibly beyond. Okay, but that's kind of what I'm seeing right now in this particular currency pair. I just wanted to put that out there because I've been looking for bearish opportunities. Price kind of reacted, but then from there you notice that the bulls came in momentum, and right now we are looking more bullish than bearish. So well, maybe possible push to the downside to retest this trend line again, and from there I'll be looking for buy opportunities for further continuations to the upside right around that, let's say 126.50, 126.45 levels. Okay, let's see how that goes. All right, now if we take a look at the, do I have anything in the 4 hours? Nope. Now in the hourly time frame, we do have a demand zone that has now formed in this area. So well, possibly a push to the downside into that demand zone right around, let's say 126.50 levels. Again, anywhere from right around there. If we get a bounce to the upside, I'll be looking for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for US dollar and Canadian dollar in my opinion. Now, next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. Again, not much here, okay, but one thing I must point out is as you can see here, now if I take a look at this particular week, we still have very bullish week. Okay, you can see that for the past, will I say 2 months now, we have been very bullish in most of the yen crosses, if not all the yen crosses. Okay, so well, I think a retracement is around the corner, to be completely honest with you, based on the kind of price action that we are now developing in the smaller time frames. You notice that price gave us, after this swing to the upside, you notice that we did get a significant push to the downside, and notice the kind of price action we are developing here. Price is not moving in momentum again to the upside. It's almost looking as if in this particular currency pair, we are respecting this selling origin that we have in this area. Notice how price gave us a push into that particular selling origin, and from there now the bears are coming into this market. So what would I like to see in this market? A possible push again to the upside, okay, but I doubt if we're going to take off these highs. So I would like to see maybe another push to the upside, maybe towards, let's say, that's 129.25 levels, and let's say anywhere from right around there is very possible, or not even getting there at all. Okay, but as long as we don't take off these highs, in my opinion, I think we're still going to get maybe another bearish rotation that will take us towards this particular demand zone areas, at least from where maybe we might get a bounce, okay, to the upside. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now in this particular currency pair. Now, in the event that we break this particular demand zone in the 4 hours time frame, if we do get this break, then chances are we might be visiting 122.50 areas that we have as demand zones on the daily time frame. Okay, so let's see how that goes. In my opinion right now, the bears are looking like they are in control, okay, as long as this particular selling origin is holding price below. All right, now the last but not the least for the majors is British pound and Japanese yen. As you can see here, well, for this particular currency pair, you can see that it's looking already bearish, okay, with this being the selling origin. As you can see here, we have now had price give us a dip into this particular selling origin from where the bears have now come in momentum to the downside. Okay, yes, we are now running into particular levels here. You can see this demand zone right here that was formed as a result of the break of this level of structure. Price has now run into this particular demand zone, and that is the reason why we're having this hesitation. So in my opinion now, the bears have kind of made a very clear statement in this particular currency pair. So possibly price can give us maybe a rotation to the upside, maybe 166.50 areas, 16700 areas, anywhere from right around here. In my opinion, I see a situation whereby the bears will come back into this market for further continuations to the downside. This is kind of the price action that I would like to see in British pounds and Japanese yen as we go into next week. Okay, so if we take a look now at the daily time frame, I really don't have any particular levels to keep an eye on the daily time frame. Okay, maybe a possible push into this particular area, who knows. So for next week, if we go back again into the 4 hours time frame, what I would like to see as we go into next week is maybe early next week, a bullish push to the upside towards, let's say, 166.50, 16700 area, anywhere from right around here. I like to see the bears come into this market and push price to the downside, maybe towards 163.50 or 16300 institutional price levels, from where I might expect the bulls to come back again for another rotation to the upside. All right, now guys, again, if my voice is going up and down, guys, it's just because maybe I'm taking breaks to maybe cough. As you guys know, I'm not feeling the best at the moment, okay, but I just have to still put out these videos out there. All right, so that's pretty much it for British pounds and Japanese yen. Now next up is going to be euro yen. All right, so this is the first cross pair that I'm going to be taking a look at. Now, unlike the other yen crosses we've looked at, right, euro yen is still inside this particular demand zone area that we have in the 4 hours time frame. Okay, now if we take a look at the daily time frame, we do have a very nice demand zone here on the daily that led to the break of this level of structure, as we can see on our charts. So obviously this is a level to keep an eye on as price is rotating to the downside, maybe possibly 13600 area, anywhere from right around here. If we get a bounce to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. All right, now as we can see also here, if I zoom in, all right, you notice that we are now slowly but surely running out of momentum, okay, to the upside, at least for this particular swing. Notice how we had a pin bar here, we had a pin bar here, and then with very significant weak rejections to the upside, and then right now we have ended this week a spinning top. All right, so well, that's looking as if a very almost a textbook reversal pattern. So maybe on the open of next week we might get a push to the upside, and then from there, anywhere from right around here, maybe we might get another very significant bearish move that will now take us into this particular daily demand zone that we have identified, maybe 136.50, 13600 levels, from where I will expect the bulls to come back into these markets again to continue pushing these markets to the upside. All right, so now if we take a look at the 4 hours time frame, you see the picture becomes clearer. Price has dipped into this demand zone, we made a new high, and now we've dipped back into that demand zone. But one thing is clear now, price has taken off this previous low, okay, this higher low that we had here. Price has taken it off with this particular week in this area. So the bears have now kind of made a claim in this market, in my opinion, by that particular move, and right now this is the selling origin that we have. All right, so possibly next week, maybe at the early next week, we might get another little push to the downside, from where the bears might come into these markets to push things to the downside again, maybe into this particular daily demand zone area that we have mapped out here. All right, so let's see how this move is going to happen. Now, that's it for Euro Yen. Next up is going to be Swiss francs and Japanese yen. Now, Swiss francs Japanese yen is actually now looking more bearish than bullish. All right, if we take a look at the daily time frame, just look at this ugly price action here. All right, in my opinion, what I would love to see is for price to dip into this particular demand zone area that we have mapped out on the daily. All right, just like in the case of other yen crosses. And if that happens anywhere from here right around 13100 or even 13150 areas, if we get a bounce to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, you notice that well, price is now this is ugly looking chart. You notice that this is almost the markets forming lower highs and lower lows. In my opinion, maybe right now we are running into buying or this particular demand zone area that we have right here. All right, that took off this level of structure. So from here, I would not be surprised if the bulls come into this market for maybe another attack to the upside, maybe towards 135.25 area. Anywhere from right around there, I will expect the bears again to come into this market to start pushing things to the downside, possibly towards 131.50 institutional price level, from where I will expect the bulls to come into this market for further continuations to the upside. All right, now that's it for Swiss francs Japanese yen. Next up is going to be British pounds Australian dollar. Now, if you guys remember from last week's Forex Forecast video that I put out, this is one of the currency pairs that I was keeping an eye on, and I told you guys that I would like to see this pair give me a push into this particular daily supply zone that I have mapped out here that led to the break of this level of structure to the downside. All right, so where you can see with Friday's price action, price has now dipped into that particular supply zone area. You can see we had a little rejection from that area as well. So, well, I'll be all over these charts early next week to see if I'm going to get any trading opportunities. In the event that price gives us a clear reversal pattern, I'll be now looking for an opportunity to go short again for another nice swing to the downside in this particular currency pair. All right, so that's it for British pound Australian dollar. Next up is going to be Euro Canadian dollar. Now, for Euro Canadian dollar, I'm not going to bore you guys. It's looking as if this pair is also now looking more bullish than bearish, in my own opinion. I only have one particular level right here on the hourly time frame. So as you guys can see here in the hourly time frame, what I would love to see is for these markets to give me a push into this particular demand zone that we have right here. Let's say right around 136.50 institutional price level. Okay, again, this should be happening early on Monday, anytime from right around here. If we get any bounces from this area, I'll be looking for another opportunity to go long in this particular currency pair for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for Euro Canadian dollar. Now, next up is going to be Euro New Zealand dollar. Now, this is going to be the last currency pair that I'll be looking at. Okay, and again, I'm I'm going to be keeping things very simple. If you pay attention here, we have this 4 hours demand zone here that led to the break of this particular level of structure that we have here. Okay, this is the demand zone area that led to that break. So that's why I've mapped out that 4 hours demand zone area anywhere from right around here. If the markets give us a push to the downside, all right, and let's say deep into this particular demand zone area right around 1.6100 institutional price level, anywhere from here, guys, if we get any reversals, any bounces, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing high area. All right, now in the event that let's say price does not get that deep, from here in the hourly time frame, guys, I'll be looking for price to give me a dip into this particular demand zone that we have, maybe let's say even 1.6200 areas, anywhere from right around here, guys. I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long upon bounces off of this demand zone that we have on the hourly time frame, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing high again. All right, so let's see how this goes. In my own opinion, these are currency pairs that are giving me a structural level to keep an eye on as we go into next week. Hopefully you guys gain some value from this particular video. Like I said earlier, guys, please pardon my voice. I'm still in the process of recovering from my cough, and that is kind of messing with my voice at the moment. All right, so I wish you guys a very happy weekend and a profitable week ahead. Cheers and bye bye.